Esteemed audience, good afternoon. So it's 2:15. It's 2:15, and time for us to start the ball rolling for today's session, which is a webinar on eco-friendly Diwali 2020. And eco-friendly Diwali is being ushered by this webinar as hosted by Foundation Academy. So may I now take the opportunity to request Honorable Headmistress Ms. Amita Jha, Honorable Headmistress of the host school, Foundation Academy, Ms. Amita Jha, is being requested to light the lamp. She will be ushered by the leader of Teacher Square, Ms. Neha Gupta. This lighting of the lamp is a ceremony which we cherish with our Indian culture before any attempt at any level, academic or societal. We believe that lighting of the lamp brings us closer to our objective of building up a better society. So, lighting of the lamp being followed, may I now request the Teacher Square led by Ms. Neha Gupta, Ms. Ranju Jha and Ms. Beauty Kumari to chant the auspicious shloka, on the occasion. Neha ma'am, you are requested to present your shloka chanting. Over to Neha ma'am. Thank you, Teacher Square. Thank you, Ms. Neha Gupta. Thank you, Ms. Ranju Jha, and thank you, Ms. Beauty Kumari, for boosting up our level of understanding for a healthier ecology. And thank you, ma'am, Amita Jha, for lighting up the lamp. Now we begin our business session, and I take immense pleasure to introduce our team of compare, the masters of the ceremony. They are, in order of appearance, Ms. Ankita Sarangi, Mr. Ayush Kumar, Ms. Rajanandini, and Mrs. Sriman Tripathi. So here we begin our business session for our webinar, an eco-friendly Diwali 2020. Over to Ankita.
Keep your face always towards the sunshine and shadows fall behind you. A grand welcome to our esteemed and glorious panel of speakers. We extend our greetings to all the revered teachers and parents. We extend an ebullient welcome to the future of our nation, the upcoming responsible citizens, the students. The Foundation Academy family welcomes you all to this thought-provoking and informative webinar on eco-friendly Diwali. Dear viewers, after attending this webinar, you will certainly begin to introspect your actions and you will start self-reflecting. John Keats, a British romantic poet, correlated beauty with euphoria. The father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, connected weapon with non-violence. But post-Diwali, I think India wants to connect Diwali with pollution. That's rather seriously funny. Today, the entire world is battling with the novel coronavirus. This pandemic has put our health and economy at stake. It has taken a toll on our health and not merely the physical health. Studies suggest that the type of pneumonia often associated with COVID-19 can cause long-standing damage to the tiny air sacs called alveoli in the lungs. The resulting scar tissue can lead to long-term breathing problems. An international journal titled The Effects of Air Pollution on COVID-19 Related Mortality in Northern Italy states that long-term exposure to ambient air pollutant concentration is known to cause chronic lung inflammation, a condition that may promote increased severity of COVID-19 syndrome caused by the novel coronavirus. The journal clearly mentions the hazardous effects of air pollution on the pandemic-affected world. Over to Ayush.
For Pankaj Patel, a spiritual leader and author, has considered thought pollution as the root cause of all ill. Pure thoughts flow into pragmatic actions, giving positive outcomes. We need to burn the lamp of awareness and responsibility. Let the voice of our consent here be heard louder than the sound of crackers. As Maya Angelou says, a caged bird is heard on the hill. Instead of watching the fireworks, let us now stare at the host of stars that adorn the night sky. Let us now enjoy the sweetness of silent night, which speaks its own language. The mind is supreme. What it will become, self-control is strength, right thought is mastery, and calmness is power. Over to Ankita.
Pollution has now become a household term. It is not an issue restricted to a specific city, state, or country. It has grown to be a global concern. Pollution is defined as the introduction of noxious substances into the environment which contaminate it, and these harmful materials are called pollutants. Although pollution is caused due to various reasons, but the most relevant and common cause is anthropogenic, that is, man-made causes. The present scenario of pollution and the destructive effects that it has brought on our ecosystem compels us to believe that the Bard of Avon, William Shakespeare, was correct when he said, Hell is empty and all the devils are here. Over to Ayush.
Although there are many pollutants, but the most devastating one is firecrackers. I say this because of the following reasons. Firecrackers cause extensive air pollution in a short amount of time. Living metal particles, dangerous toxins, harmful chemical, and smoke in air for hours and days. Some of the toxins never fully disintegrate or decompose, but rather hang around in the environment, poisoning all they come into contact with. Exposure to such fine particles, like those found in smoke and haze, is linked to negative health issues such as coughing, wheezing, cough. breath, asthma attack, and even heart attack. And in the current scenario of COVID-19, with difficulty in breathing and other respiratory problems as major issues, Diwali fireworks will be nothing but a doomsday for the patients. Mark Twain once remarked, whenever you find yourself on the side of majority, it is time to pause and reflect. And so is the time now. When majority of people in India burn fireworks as a part of Diwali celebration, which leads to premature death of more than 1 million people each year, but also leads to the extinction of many microscopic organisms. Apart from these long-term effects, the immediate effect can be observed on the next day, especially in the morning when the PM 2.0 and 2.5 level in the air rises abruptly. And doesn't matter whichever city you are in, smog will block your way and air will be toxic. Mahatma Gandhi said, you must be the change you wish to see in the society. So this Diwali, be the change. Boycott firecrackers, not only to save the earth, but also to save thousands of underage workers employed in manufacturing firecrackers. And let Diwali be the festival of light and not a festival of fear. At this point of time, I remember an extract from Merchant of Venice, said by Shylock. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, shall we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? So are our acts. As we are poisoning the nature, it will definitely take revenge. And when it will take, none of us will be alive. And if anyone escapes death, he would be as good as dead. Now, I hand over the microphone to Raj Nandini for introducing our first speaker. Over to Raj Nandini.
Thank you so much, Ayush, for handing over the mic. Now I'd like to start with the introduction of our first speaker, who is our Honorable Principal Ma'am, Ms. Rama Chakravarti. Born in Kolkata in a middle-class Bengali family, Ms. Rama Chakravarti, Honorable Principal of Foundation Academy, RT Campus, Patna, learned her letters quite early and finished off the reading of R. Bhekhu, Seventh version of Pathe Panchali and Betal Panchavinshati by the age of 4. Though Ma'am joined the kindergarten school at the age of 3, she considered her father, late Santosh Kumar Chakravarti, as the institution therefrom Ma'am gathered love for learning, knowledge of mythology, acquaintance and bonding with nature, recognition of constellation, broader sense of religion, culture and what not. Ma'am loved literature and science alike and took up physics as a subject for honors and masters. Completed her BA from University of Kolkata and after a short while had to shift to Patna. After her marriage to Mr. Vishwajit Chakravarti, a bright hydrologist and scientist at National Institute of Hydrology, Government of India. Ma'am started her career as a physics teacher in DAV, DSAV Patna and then joined DPS Patna. During her 16 years of tenure in DPS Patna, Ma'am was primarily a physics teacher and occasionally a math teacher. Ma'am got various opportunities to be associated with science-related activities and projects. But her still long years, Ma'am took care of almost all scientific activities in DPS Patna. Projects guided by her were selected in different national and international forums. In 2008, 10, and 13, one of the projects of Ma'am was awarded as Top 20 Project in National Children's Science Congress and Indian Science Congress. Ma'am left GPS in 2018 and joined as the principal of Takshila School, Begusarai, and then joined our Foundation Academy RT Campus Patna in 2020. So now I'd like to invite Ma'am to enlighten us with her inspirational words. Handing over the mic to Principal Ma'am.
Thank you, Rajnandini, for your kind words. Good afternoon, everyone present here. Today we have assembled to discuss about the different aspects and debates related to the upcoming Diwali celebration. Diwali is a very old religious, traditional and cultural festival, and we know most of the things about it. Sorry. Doesn't. Okay. Is my screen visible? Is my screen visible? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, the history or the mythological story behind Diwali is known to all. It's told that people of Ayodhya lit up rows of earthen lamps to welcome back their benevolent king Rama with Sita and Lakshman from 14 years exile after defeating Ravana. They celebrated the auspicious homecoming, the victory of good over evil, of light over darkness, of knowledge over ignorance, by lights, music, delicious foods and sweets, and firecrackers, and Diwali started. So, lights and firecrackers are inseparable parts of Diwali. People will raise their eyebrows and tell that fireworks came in for Diwali celebration only around 14th century AD when gunpowder started to be used in Indian warfare. But writing and research works of different famous, yes,
Yeah, your PPT is not visible, ma'am.
is it?
Yeah,
Not visible.
It is
yeah,
visible.
ma'am.
It is visible to me.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay, okay. Thank you. So, writing and research works of different famous historians tell otherwise. It's a known fact that the main ingredient of gunpowder, that is saltpeter, was very much known in ancient India. Cortelius' Arthashastra, which was written around in 300 BC, it bears the reference to saltpeter and it was referred as Almitum. Doctor Gustav Oppert of Germany has his researches on this. He says the oldest documents mentioning gunpowder are in the ancient Sanskrit texts of India. Now, when we talk about the major components of entire Diwali celebration, we will talk about cleaning, which is a good habit. Once cleaning a nook and corner of the house guarantees us hygienic and four happy chemicals. Those are dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Now, why light for celebrations? In bright natural lights, bodies stick to natural circadian rhythms. Kartik marks the advent of winter, making people prone to sad. These are seasonal affective disorder. Bright light is supposed to regulate the circadian rhythms and melatonin level to cure depression and sadness. So actually bright light makes us happy. The next question is why loud music or bursting crackers? Now there is a direct connection between our inner ear and the pleasure centers of the brain. When we listen to loud music or we burst loud crackers, endorphins are released. There is dopamine rush in the body and huge sound actually overwhelm other senses and block the problems and somehow relieve stress. So we feel as if our moods are elevated. Now, while I came across different magazines and newspapers and some very interesting facts about the firecrackers. And they tell that it kills mosquitoes because of the intolerable heat and flashlight. And you can see here uh, a newspaper cutting that is of Thursday, October 16, 2003, which says, say yes to firecrackers to get rid of mosquitoes and the dreaded dengue. Next, if we talk about the Diwali pollution, people say that they contribute only 0.03% of the total pollution, but we have to remember this is small but statistically significant. And when talking about the fireworks industry, it is a huge industry whose turnover is more than about 1,600 crores. It directly employs more than 40,000 people. And nowadays, this industry has become very smart. They actually follow all the rules and regulations of employment and do not employ the child laborers. The fourth is it drives technological developments. It's a less known fact that the designs of rockets and missiles and many weapons are planned, improved, and assessed by the firework industries, and this industry also gives real life problems for research work. Yes, bursting crackers means fun when we talk about our childhood. Crackers speaks to human in the language of fire, one of the most basic language which ignites our dreams and emotions. Now this is a slide which shows the average change in the levels of particulate matter 2.5, which is particulate matter of size 2.5 micron. If you see this zero designates the Diwali day. And after Diwali, for 3 days, we can see a sharp rise in the 2.5 PM 2.5 levels. Afterwards, of course, it becomes lesser. Now, if we talk about PM 2.5 particles, these are fine particles suspended in the air, which can be easily breathed in, and it can cause severe inflammation of our respiratory tract and even lungs, which can be very bad news for the COVID related time or for us. Now, around this time of year, Delhi and other cities in northern India experience very bad air quality because of a combination of factors. Number one, in winter, the air quality generally becomes bad because of the dense air and then slow moving wind. Now, if we talk about farm fires, it is estimated to contribute about 40% of Delhi's pollution in this time, like in October and November. Council of Energy, Environment and Water last year listed exhaust and emission from vehicles at the largest contributor of PM 2.5 and other types of pollution. Dust from roads, construction sites, energy plants, and landfill also contribute. In that comparison, contribution of firecracker are very less, but since this lead to sharp rise of in a small duration, we need to be aware about proper decision making. So what is the way out? If you talk to the kids, they feel that Diwali is incomplete without crackers. Here comes the role of green crackers, which are environment friendly. In October 2018, Supreme Court allowed bursting of low emission crackers known as green crackers. These are researched and developed by scientists of CSIR and NEEL. So let us see what is the difference. If you talk about general crackers, the composition differs here. In regular crackers, they comprise of 6 key elements: the fuel, the oxidizing agent, then the reducing agent, mainly sulfur, regulators, coloring agents, different salts of different metals, strontium for red, aluminium for white, sodium for yellow, barium for green, calcium for orange, copper for blue colors, and then spiders. In case of in case of green crackers, they do not comprise of barium nitrate, which is one of the most hazardous elements present in any regular cracker. Now, while knowing more about green crackers, there are swas, star, and suffle. Swas is safe water releaser. You can see they will release water vapor in the air, which will suppress the dust released. It will not comprise of potassium nitrate and sulfur. That means lesser emission of oxides of nitrogen and sulfur. A diluent will be released for gaseous emissions. The particulate dust released will reduce by approximately 30%. Then there is star, safe thermite cracker. It has reduced particulate matter disposal, reduced sound intensity. There is suffle, safe minimal aluminium. There is minimum usage of aluminium here, usage of magnesium instead of aluminium, and that's it. Now, the question is, when we talk about crackers, it's not only different poisonous gases and particulate matter, it also contributes to a lot of noise pollution. We have to make conscious choice, and moderation is the key. So here are my 10 ways to celebrate a safe and eco-friendly Diwali. Buy artisan lamps and diyas and maybe locally made candles. Use natural colors for rangoli decoration instead of chemical ones. Go shopping with bags because then you will use less plastic bags. Use environment friendly products for home decoration. You should use biodegradable plates and glasses. They may be made of parts of plants or banana leaves or sal leaves, something like that. But the thermocol plates and glasses are very bad for health, so they are a strict no-no. Gift a plant this Diwali, donate with an AD, shop less, tone down the music volume, and opt for eco-friendly crackers if it is required, then also in moderation. See, everything said and done, we need to understand that we have only one planet to live on, one atmosphere to breathe in, and in these COVID-related conditions, the condition can be worsened in case of respiratory infections. Choice should be conscious, aware, intelligent, and smart to make everyone happy and healthy in this festival time. So I wish everyone an eco-friendly and happy Diwali. Thank you for the patient hearing, and that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your uplifting and motivational words. Now I'll hand over the mic to Sriman for lead the way further.
Uh, Thank you, Srimant, for introducing me, and good afternoon to all of you. I think that I'm audible. I hope that I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. So it's a pleasure for me to participate in this webinar, and thanks to Rama also for inviting me to participate in. Uh, uh, Already Rama has talked a lot about how to celebrate the Green Deepavali and history of Deepavali. So I won't repeat these points. I would like to emphasize that why we are so worried. What is the cause behind so much of worry about the air pollution and Deepavali restrictions? And for that, I would like to give one short presentation to you, through which I'd like to show you a couple of points. Sharing my screen. Yeah. Share. My screen is coming. Present now. I'm not able to share the screen.
See, sir, at the bottom of your laptop, on the right
Yeah,
hand side, there is present now.
yeah, that is there. And
Huh?
now I'll go to
You
it.
click present now,
Yeah,
then there comes present your entire screen. Click
yeah,
that.
that is there.
Huh?
That is
Then,
there. But if I
then
go
one
to,
screen comes, you have to click at the center,
okay, yeah,
and then the share option becomes green.
yes, now it
Yes.
comes. Now it is coming.
Thank you, sir.
So you can see the slides, I
Yes.
hope now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yes, can you see?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So this is my presentation, and I'll focus my talk to the air, the quality of the air that we breathe. Because whatever discussion is going on, but mostly centered around air pollution, its bad impact. Whatever restrictions are being imposed on us for celebration of Diwali, somehow or other it is concerned with the quality of the air that we breathe. Actually, I'm working in cancer hospital also, along with working as chairman of Bihar State Pollution Control Board. And the figures about the cancer patients that I'm seeing over there, that is alarming. When I joined in this Mahavir Cancer Hospital in 2016, the number of patients coming to this hospital per year was only about 12 to 13,000. And last year, it was 25,000. So you can imagine that in one hospital, a single hospital, we have more than 23,000, 25,000 cancer patients coming in 1 year. I don't say that all the cancer patients are coming due to air pollution, but air pollution is also a contributory factor. And there are so many reasons behind that. You see the lungs. For breathing, we always require the lungs, and it is a very complicated organ and very efficient organ. It has 100 to 200 million branching tubes and need no remain pattern all the time. It has 600 million alveoli. Imagine mind-boggling numbers. Your lungs, they have 600 million alveoli, small spaces, and very thin membrane, only 0.3 micron thick. So that is the beauty of this organ. And this pumps about 420 liters of oxygen per day. And carbon dioxide emits 350 liters. That is the efficiency of this organ, this lungs. And it purifies about 10,000 liters of blood every day. So these figures indicate that how important your lung is and how efficient your lung is. No machine can compete with natural lungs right before you. It's very efficient, very complicated, very microscopic structures are there within it, and it's performing lots of functions. You cannot survive if your lungs are not functioning. That is the problem with you. And if you talk about human body again, then you need always energy. For everything you require energy. And for energy in living body, for any work that you do whole day, chemical energy is required in the form of ATP. And for that energy generation, you require 90% oxygen that percolates into your body through lungs and only 10% of food and water. So lungs becomes important because without oxygen we cannot survive. Energy is required, and for energy we have ATP. And if you want to have ATP, then respiration is required and oxygen is required. And look, if you compare the percentage, it is 90% oxygen and 10% food and water. So that way lungs becomes very important. And even if you are in complete bed rest, the O2 requirement per day is 500 liters. For routine activities, 10,000 liters. And for professional athletes, it is 15,000 liters per day. That is requirement of oxygen. And remember that this entire oxygen is handled by your lungs within your body. And that way, its beauty is there. If you see the figure at the top, it gives you a summary. 10,000 liters of air and 10,000 liters of blood. That is the quantity that is circulated. And there are 25 trillion RBC and 35% of blood volume. Each RBC has 300 million HB molecules, that hemoglobin molecules. So if you see the figures and the size of lungs, it has a very important duty to perform. And that way it is very efficient machine ever imagined in the history of natural sciences. And that way it becomes significant and to protect. And if we require oxygen, we have to breathe. And see the photographs before you. These are not the photographs from internet. They are mostly from the Patna city in different parts. You must be familiar with this scenario that is being depicted in the photographs. The three-wheelers emitting lots of smoke, burning of garbage on the roadside, traffic jams, and fog, and so on and so forth. These scenarios, they have become very common, particularly as the winter sets in. We have this problem year after year. And all of you living in Patna, you might have come across this scenario in your day-to-day life. This is a problem. And air quality is deteriorating due to so many reasons. So many reasons are there. Like biomass burning is there, particulate matter is there, as Rama was speaking. The particulate matter of 2.5 and 10 microns. 2.5 is the smaller one and 10 is bigger one. But we have both of them as they are in huge quantity. And in India, there are 103 non-attainment cities. That is very high in air pollution. And in Bihar also we have three. Three cities are in the highly polluted city. Patna is one of them. Gaya is the second and Muzaffarpur is third. I don't say that only these three cities are highly polluted. More cities are polluted, but these are the three cities that is on the radar. And we have to monitor them continuously. Then as far as health impact is concerned, if you are exposed to air pollution through Diwali or without Diwali even, in the normal days, you have lots of effects. The direct effect is on lungs. Chances of infection increases. Asthma is there. COPD is there. Then lung cancer is there. It affects heart also. Heart also, hypertension is caused. Then ischemic heart disease is there. Heart failures will be there. In vascular system, it may lead to stroke. Endocrine system can be affected where it leads to obesity, diabetes, and also metabolic syndrome. And even it can impact your brain where cognition, depression, Alzheimer's, all these things are there. So that is the health impact of air pollution. If you are having bad air, if you are exposed to highly polluted air for long time period, very, very long time period, you are exposed, your lung is exposed, your heart is exposed, vascular system is exposed, endocrine is exposed, and even the brain is exposed. We don't feel it in the day-to-day life if you are exposed to 1 hour, that what are the harms. But if you are continuously exposed to a highly polluted air, then all these impacts will be there in your body. And that becomes alarming. That is why so much emphasis is there from government and pollution control board to check the air pollution. That is the reason behind that. And I will show you two photographs. That is real photographs of the lungs. This is the first one. That is healthy lung. And this is the COPD lung. That is the constructive, the lung disease that is highly impacted by maybe tobacco smoking. And even it may be due to highly polluted air, ingestion of highly polluted air. And once again, these are not the artificially created photographs. They are the actual photographs from the patients that is before you. And COPD is a lung disease due to toxic insult of airways and the lung parenchyma and harmful to environmental substances. By comparing the two photographs, even if you are a layman, you can imagine that what will be the impact of air pollution on your lungs if you are exposed for a very, very long duration and if the quality of the air is bad. The photograph is self-explanatory, and that gives the high alert to everybody who is seeing that if you don't control the air pollution or if you don't breathe the pure air, clean air, then your heart, your lung, and your heart, your brain is at risk. And this is a graphic that I've taken from the paper. This indicates that in top 10 leading countries, India is somewhere that is not good. We are at the top, and being the top is not a good news. It is, if number-wise, if you see, air pollution kills 6.5 million people every year worldwide. And the top leading countries are first is India, second is China, third is Pakistan. And there's a huge gap between India and Pakistan and Nigeria and Indonesia. Even China, they are stuck at 1.83 million, and India it is 2.51 million. And this is once again not imaginary number. It is published in Lancet, one of the most prestigious research publication in medical fraternity. So if the numbers are before you, it is mind-boggling that only in India, if 2.51 million people are dying due to air pollution, then everybody has to think that how to keep our air clean and how to avoid death due to air pollution. That is man-made, not a natural death. Air pollution is man-made. It is anthropogenic mostly. And not only that, air pollution is another having side effect besides all the problem on the cardiac system and lung system and vascular system and brain, nervous system. It also promotes obesity. You might have seen that most of the people in Patna above 30 or 35 years, they have a tendency to become obese. And the pollutants, air pollutants, they also behave as obesogens. They promote, if you are having bad air, the bad air, air pollution works in your body, and this acts as obesogen. Despite your controlled food and exercise, if you are not having good air, obesity may be there. And that is very common. When I move on roads, I keep seeing young persons with, fat mid belly, and it is not everybody's fault. It is also the fault due to air pollution. That is also one of the fault. Then you might have heard often about AQI, measurement of AQI, that is the air quality index, and through that we measure that how clean is the air or how polluted is the air. And this value, the AQI, that is calculated on the basis of a few parameters. Most important among them is the particulate matter, that is of PM10, 10 micron size. PM2.5, that is second. Nitrogen dioxide is also there. Sulfur dioxide is there. Carbon monoxide is there. Ozone is there. Ammonia is there, and lead is there. And on that basis, the AQI of any city or any town or village is calculated. You might have seen in the newspapers or the TV shows that in Delhi, the AQI has crossed 400 and at some places it has crossed even 450. Fortunately for Patna, of all the parameters that I'm seeing here, like lead and ammonia, most of the parameters are under control, under the permissible limit, except for PM10 and PM2.5. That is the most dangerous thing that we have to tackle. I'll come to that why this is 2.5 and PM10 is very high. That particulate matter, in Hindi you can read dhulkan, that is more common word, and dust particles, and depending on size we call it PM10 or PM2.5. And if it is in the range of 0 to 100, 0 to 50, we say the air quality is good. If it passes from 50 to 100, is moderate. If it crosses 150, it is unhealthy. And if it is more than 300, it is very unhealthy. And if it becomes beyond that, it becomes hazardous. It is hazardous. That is it. Fortunately, in Patna, we have not reached that level. But still, I cannot say that Patna is a very clean city. We are something, as of today, we are something around 150 to 200. So that is still unhealthy, but not very hazardous as of now. This is the range that I've already explained you, that what is the AQI value and what it means. 0 to 50 is minimal impact. 51 to 100 may cause breathing discomfort to sensitive people, not all people. And if it is 101 to 200, it may cause breathing discomfort in people with lung disease, that is asthma, and discomfort to people with heart disease. And if it is more than 200, it may cause breathing discomfort to people on prolonged exposure and discomfort to people with heart disease. And if it is more than 301 and up to 400, it is very poor, and it may cause respiratory illness to the people on prolonged exposure. And effects may be more pronounced in people with lung and heart disease. And if it is more than 400, that is happening in Delhi as of now, it is severe and it may cause respiratory effects even on healthy people and serious health impacts on people with lungs and heart. The health impacts may be experienced even during the light physical activity. Even if you walk fast, you may have the serious problem about walking. So that is a summary of the AQI. Then in pollution control board, we tried to know that what is the source from where this air pollutants are coming, because Diwali is a 1 day event, 1 or 2 day event. But round the year we have problem. Round the year we have problem, and we have problem like in inventory emission. Transport is a quite major, it is 13%. Domestic fumes is 24%. Patna is not highly industrialized, so industry has only 6%. Brick kilns, they have quite good share. Waste burning is also there. And from outside, from the neighboring area also, 29%. That is the source of air pollution. And all these pollutants become very high during Diwali, before Diwali, and after Diwali, it becomes high. And if you go to regions, that what are the anthropogenic man-made factors that is causing air pollution? Mostly, actually, in Bihar, in Patna, in cities like Muzaffarpur or Patna, the air pollution is due to both geologic regions and also due to anthropogenic, mostly anthropogenic, man-made activities. Like particulate matter, if you talk about particulate matter, that is the most important air pollutant as far as Patna is concerned. This is mainly due to resuspension of the road dust, emission from vehicles and DG sets. Lots of construction activities are going on, that also creates dust. Burning of domestic fossils, even now, open burning of solid waste, that is also a source. And transportation of construction materials such as sand, soil, etc., without covering, that is a source. Similarly, if you go to NO2, NO2 is also one of the pollutants. And in Patna, sometimes even NO2 crosses the permissible limit along with the PM 2.5 and PM 10. Not always, but it passes, particularly in the winter, to the alarmingly high level. And this is mostly due to vehicular emission and photochemical reaction in the atmosphere. And the flying of the old vehicles. That is, Patna is a unique city, a very unusual city, where you will find that on the road you can see ambassadors of 1960s and BMWs of 2020 also. So every day new vehicles are being added and old vehicles are not discarded. And there is no rule to control it. And that is why the level of NO2 that becomes very high due to their fumes. Then neighborhood state pollutants are also important. Air is not divided in Bihar and Bengal and UP. Air is continuous. And although in Bihar industrial activity is not very high, but in the adjacent states like Bengal and UP, lots of industrial activities are there. And the air comes from neighbors also. If the wind velocity is very high from east to west or west to east, if it is east to west, the Bengal pollutants come to Bihar. If it is reverse, the UP comes in Bihar. And according to our rough estimate, 30% of Bihar smoke drifts from out of state cars, trucks, power plants, and other industries. So you cannot say that because Bihar is not industrialized, highly industrialized, so there won't be air pollution. you can get the impact of air pollution from the adjoining states like West Bengal and UP. And similarly, Bihar gets significant air pollutants like SO2 and NO2 from highly industrialized cities like Kanpur and Kolkata through easterly wind and westerly wind. That is the source. They are the source. Then geogenic factor is also there. You see this map where the yellow portion, this entire yellow portion is the Indo-Gangetic plain. Bihar is a part of it. Most of the Bihar area, except the south part, we in the Gangetic plain. And the soil is highly alluvial. That is very soft soil, not well settled. And we are prone to dust formation. Even if you don't do anything, if you remove all the cars from the road, even then the dust will be there. The reason being that the soil is not hard rock, it's not hard rock area, it is very soft soil. And if any activity is there, even if you move on foot or bicycle on roads that is not concrete, then the dust formation will be there. So that indicates that this is year by year problem. And this yellow area in which Bihar and UP and all these states that are coming here, they are prone to air pollution due to geogenic factor also. Not only the anthropogenic, so the two things combined. The natural regions that we are not able to control and also the man-made effects. And the combined effect is, drastic and it is impairing our health. That situation. The same thing I'm trying to show you that year after year, this entire red zone that you are seeing worldwide, this is a figure from 2005 to 2015. This entire area throughout the world, wherever the soil is soft, the problem of PM 2.5 is very high. And Patna, Kolkata, Delhi, they are in this area, in this particular area, where air pollution will be high. Despite all our efforts, we cannot control entirely the PM 2.5 problem and PM 10 problem due to geogenic reason, due to the geological reason that is beyond our control. But anthropogenic activities can be controlled. Then coming to the fireworks, already Rama has told you a lot about the different fireworks and composition. Some of the major components that are used in the fireworks are aluminium, that is used to provide brilliant white to the fireworks. Whenever you do some firework, then often you see very bright white light. That is due to burning of aluminium. Antimony sulfide, that is used to provide the glitter, the shining. Arsenic compounds, I work on arsenic, that is in water. But even if you use the fireworks, arsenic comes from there also. And it is also used as colorants. Mostly green color emits from the arsenic. Then barium nitrate is also used for glittering green color, seen in fireworks. Lead oxide and nitrate and fluoride, that is used as oxidizer. And strontium compounds, that is used to give blazing red color. Phosphorus helps in fireworks ignite spontaneously in the air. And all of them, whether I talk about high aluminium intake or antimony or arsenic or barium, lead, strontium, for human metabolic activity point of view, they are harmful. So many contents that are very harmful. And similarly, many compounds are also used, complex ones like KNO3, BaCl3, and then NaHCO3, carbon, sulfur, perchlorate, aluminium, so on. So many harmful contents are there in the fireworks that we use frequently during Deepavali. And not only the different components that already I've explained, I've skipped this graph because already I've explained it. The pollutants, the major pollutant that is coming out of the fireworks, again, it is the same that is under normal day-to-day activity. That is SPM, suspended particulate matter, SO2, and NOx, that is oxides of nitrogen. They are the major pollutants released. They are already very high in the air. Even if Deepavali is not there, SPM is high, SO2 is high, NOx is high, but due to excessive use of fireworks, they also become much more higher and become toxic. The SPM, suspended particulate matter, the tiny airborne solid or liquid particle associated with the Earth's atmosphere with a size less than 100 microgram, are called suspended particulate matter. And the various SPMs are emitted by fireworks, including various elements including potassium, aluminium, barium, manganese, cadmium, copper, and other heavy metals. And these suspended particulate matter, they have become a matter of more concern in the time of this coronavirus health impact. Because it is suggested that if this SPM is high in the atmosphere and moisture is also high in the atmosphere, then coronavirus may stick to this particle and their survival in nature may become enhanced. And that is why the chances of corona spread is likely to increase at the onset of winter and after Diwali. Because after Diwali and at the onset of winter, the SPM becomes very high, and high SPM promotes the health of the virus and negatively affects health of yours. And that is why this is very important. Likewise, sulfur dioxide. Sulfur is the most commonly used reducing agent used in fireworks, which is standard constituents of black powder. It reacts with oxygen to produce SO2 and CO2, and both of them are air pollutants. Similarly, many oxides of nitrogen are released. Nitrates are the most commonly used oxidizers in the fireworks. They react with reducing agents like sulfur to give NO, which further reacts with O2 in air to form NO2. And that becomes toxic again. So they are the main. There are many more secondary ones, but the major pollutants that is very high, that increases very high level in the Diwali season is SPM, SO2, and oxides of nitrogen. Then noise is also important, not only the air, but with fireworks, the noise is also important. Fire can be loud and the vibration can travel far, and in the middle of the night, firework often disturbs people trying to sleep. And the fireworks can exceed 140 decibels during the Diwali time. And the noise of only 85 decibels or above can be damaging in hearing. So if more than 85 decibel is damaging your hearing, and if your fireworks are going on for 140, more than 140 decibels, 150 decibels, and if you are exposed continuously to this high level of noise, then along with your heart and brain and your nervous system, even the hearing may be impaired. And some people also argue that noise from fireworks scares pets and wildlife like birds and etc. So the both things are related. So many harmful effects are there. Whatever name I have mentioned, different aluminium or antimony. I have quoted some of the important effects, not all the effects, but it's not possible in limited time. Like aluminium, that is released through the firecrackers. It causes contact dermatitis. Antimony sulfide, it gives rise to toxic smoke and is possibly carcinogen. It may cause cancer. Arsenic compounds, it leads to formation of toxic ash, which when inhaled can cause lung cancer. It also leads to skin irritation and wart formation. Barium nitrate, fumes of barium nitrate are highly poisonous and can cause irritation in the respiratory tract. Lead dioxide, nitrate, chloride, they are all poisonous for plants and animals and curb the development of kids and unborn babies. And strontium compounds, it can replace calcium in the body. Strontium chloride is highly poisonous. So that is the health impact on this. And keeping all these things in mind, the Green Tribunal has issued a very strict advisory or rather order. And through that order, we are going to follow up. You might have seen this advertisement in the newspaper also, which says, I'll speak in Hindi, वायु प्रदूषण पर नियंत्रण हेतु आवश्यक सूचना. This notice we released considering the order of the Green Tribunal a few days back. It says विभिन्न भौगोलिक गतिविधियों के कारण ठंड के मौसम में वायु का प्रदूषण स्तर बढ़ जाता है, जिससे मानव स्वास्थ्य और पर्यावरण पर प्रतिकूल असर पड़ता है. ऐसे शहरों में वायु प्रदूषण के स्तर को नियंत्रित रखने के हेतु माननीय राष्ट्रीय हरित अधिकरण प्रिंसिपल बेंच न्यू दिल्ली द्वारा मूल आवेदन 249/2020 में दिनांक 5 नवंबर को सुनवाई के उपरांत पारित आदेश में निर्देश दिया जाता है कि दिनांक 9-10 नवंबर के मध्य रात्रि से 30-1 दिसंबर 2020 के मध्य रात्रि तक देश के वैसे शहरों में जहां वायु प्रदूषण का स्तर गत वर्ष माह और 2009 के दौरान खराब था, जहाँ AQI पुअर था 201 से 300 तक, या बहुत खराब था 301 से 400 तक, अथवा गंभीर था 401 से 500 तक AQI था, श्रेणी में पाया गया, वहां सभी प्रकार के पटाखों का फायर क्रैकर्स का बिक्री अथवा उपयोग पर संपूर्ण प्रतिबंध है। एंड दैट मीन्स इट इज इफेक्टिव इन पटना. As per this order of Green Tribunal, in Patna, the sale of firecrackers is banned, totally banned. ज्ञातव्य है कि बिहार के 3 प्रदूषित शहरों में पटना, गया और मुजफ्फरपुर में गत नवंबर 2019 के दौरान वायु प्रदूषण का स्तर बहुत खराब था, या बहुत खराब पाया गया था. तो ये इंडिकेट करता है कि कम से कम बिहार राज्य के 3 सिटीज में, पटना, गया और मुजफ्फरपुर में पटाखों की बिक्री पूर्णतः प्रतिबंधित है. पॉल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड ने डीएम लोग को, सारे डीएम को ये निर्देश जारी किया है कि इसको ये अप्लाई करें. इसी आदेश में यह भी निर्देशित किया गया है कि जहां शहर की वायु गुणवत्ता थोड़ा प्रदूषित है, मॉडरेटली, जहाँ AQI 101 से 200 है, या इसके थोड़ा निम्न श्रेणी में आते हैं, यहाँ केवल ग्रीन पटाखे ही बिक्री की जाए. रामा जी ने ग्रीन पटाखे के बारे में आप लोग को बताया है, लेकिन पटना में ग्रीन पटाखे भी अलाउड नहीं है एज पर द ऑर्डर. आपको ग्रीन पटाखों से भी दूर रहना है पटना, गया में और मुजफ्फरपुर. और ऐसे शहरों में जहां पटाखों की बिक्री उपयोग प्रतिबंधित नहीं है, मतलब कि जहां AQI 101 से 200 है या उससे नीचे है, तो वैसे में छठ, नववर्ष और क्रिसमस आदि में पटाखे मात्र 2 घंटे तक ही चलाए जाते हैं. इन शहरों में दिवाली एवं गुरु पर्व पर रात्रि 8 बजे से 10 बजे तक, छठ में प्रातः 6 बजे से 8 बजे तक, एवं क्रिसमस एवं नववर्ष के दिन में मध्य रात्रि में 11:55 से मध्य रात्रि 12:30 बजे तक, अथवा इस संबंध में राज्य सरकार द्वारा जारी अधिसूचना समयानुसार पटाखे छोड़े जाते हैं. ये आदेश हम लोगों ने नहीं किया है, ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल ने किया है, हम लोगों ने इसे इम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं. एंड वी आर नॉट इम्प्लीमेंटिंग इट फॉर आवर पर्सनल हेल्थ ओनली और हेल्थ ऑफ द ग्रीन ट्रिब्यूनल. इट इज फॉर यू, इट इज फॉर योर हेल्थ, it is for your well-being. And anybody who is elderly or having any problem of cardiac or any lung issue, that is very important. So we have responsibility. I always believe that air pollution or any pollution cannot be controlled only by the government agencies. Pollution Control Board alone cannot control the air pollution. Every citizen has to come forward, and they have to take the order seriously. They have to think that green tribunals, if they are issuing this order, they are not a group of mad persons. They are scientific persons, they are advisors. And based on scientific study, they issue the guidelines. And that these guidelines only there to protect your health. So take this notice seriously and try to avoid it. और ऐसे भी नाम तो दीपावली है, ये नाम तो बोलता है कि ये दीपक जलाने का उत्सव है. दीपावली नाम से लगता है कि इसमें कहीं क्रैकर्स का मेंशन है. इसको क्रैकावली क्यों नहीं बोलते हैं, इसको दीपावली क्यों बोलते हैं? तो दीपावली का जो शुरुआत हुआ था उसमें तो दीपक ही जलाना था. दीपक जलाइए, मिट्टी का दीपक जलाइए. आपके प्रधानमंत्री ने भी कहा है कि लोकल प्रोडक्ट का यूज करिए. तो चाइनीज जो लाइट होता है उसको अवॉइड कीजिए, लोकल आर्टिसन का बनाया हुआ दीपक जलाइए. और जो ऑर्डर्स दिया गया उसको गंभीरता पूर्वक केवल वेबिनार में सुनने के लिए नहीं बल्कि समाज में फैलाइए कि आपके लिए बुरा है, इसको अवॉइड करें. थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर अटेंशन. क्या दैट्स ऑल फॉर मी. थैंक्स.
प्रस्तुत कविता का शीर्षक है आओ मिलकर दिया जलाएं, और इस कविता के कवि एवं लेखक अन्य कोई नहीं बल्कि हमारे ही विद्यालय के शिक्षक श्री विकेता कुमार हैं. जब हृदय जलवायु साफ रहेगा, जीने में एहसास रहेगा, गति मिलेगी, सोच मिलेगा, मरने उपरांत सब याद रहेगा, मरने उपरांत सब याद रहेगा. दीप जलाओ कुछ घर रोशन हो, सागर में धूप और छांव मिलेंगे, मैं कुदरत करुण पुकार रही हूँ, आ मिल सब एक दिया जलाएं, आ मिल सब एक दिया जलाएं. न शोर हो धरती माता पे, जरा ध्यान रखें और आगे बढ़ें. त्योहार है ये, एक सीख भी है, हम जलकर ही रोशन होते हैं, हम जलकर ही रोशन होते हैं. जब वक्त भी सीधी पटरी पर है, हम भी कर्तव्य निभाएंगे। हाँ, मिलकर हम सब एक हो, सब साथ रहे, एक दिया
हेलो।
जलाएं, सब साथ
हाँ
रहे, एक दिया जलाएं। धन्यवाद।
अच्छा अच्छा। हाँ एक्चुअली
ये
वहाँ इंटरनेट
कंप्लीटली
नहीं था और एक हमको लेक्चर देना वेब के थ्रू, तो मैं घर आ गया था।
Mr. Sharad Kumar Singh, Honorable
देखा है?
Principal,
हाँ
Litra Valley School, Patna, has completed his Masters in Economics and B.Ed from
अच्छा।
reputed institution. Sir has
आप
authored the
कर
book
दीजिए, हम कल आके
together
चेंज
with
कर देंगे।
Social Science for Grade 8.
कर दीजिए,
The
कर दीजिए।
curricula
आई
that
थिंक
has been
बेटर
taught by
सैलरी
Sir
मिल रहा है,
is really vast.
लेकिन सिया
The
आई थिंक
curricula
हाँ
taught by Sir
सिया के
include
चेयरमैन साहब को बोलिए कि भाई
IDP,
पैसा
that is
वापस ले लीजिए हम लोग,
International
नहीं तो हम
Baccalaureate
लोग
Diploma Program,
हाँ,
Cambridge A-Level, Cambridge
ठीक
IGCSE,
है,
that is the International
ठीक है,
General
ठीक है।
Certificate for
ओके
Secondary Education,
ओके।
CBSE, ICSE, and ISC. Sir was a member of Syllabus Planning ISC 2006. Sir is also a teacher trainer, career counselor, photographer, and an excellent quiz master. Sir, your versatility really inspires us. Sir has been an integral part of various reputed institutions like Sarla Birla Academy, Bangalore, and DPS Patna. Now, I would like to request our Honorable Speaker, Sir Sharad Kumar Singh, to start with his much awaited presentation.
Thank you, Rajnandani, for introducing me. I'm humbled by the way you handled and spoke so highly about me, and I hope I do justice to whatever you spoke. Namaskar to all the panelists. Good afternoon, the audience. I know it has been too long. I'll try to keep my. I don't have a presentation to go about. I'll just quickly sum up something which keeps the world going. Other speakers gave everything about technical aspects of how pollution, environment has been taken for granted and misused and abused by each one of us. And because of those abuses, our health of has been in danger, and so much precautions are needed and required. I have been a student of economics throughout my life. So now I go on to speak about one thing which keeps everyone moving, which keeps every economy moving, which keeps every economic activity moving, and that is money. So India is facing, along with other countries of the world, a tough time to ensure that people that during this Diwali, let us promote everything local. So I'll just take a leaf from there. How economic activities have changed the economic health of the countries of the world, and India is no exception. Our hard-earned money goes to China. China being a communist country, when it comes to business, when it comes to economic activity, they are thorough professionals. They prepare the statues of Lakshmi ji, Ganesh ji. They prepare the different other idols, statues. They prepare rangoli colors, you name it, and they have it. And we Indians, what we do, we go and purchase those cheap products. And let's understand why it has been cheaper in China. because of modernization, because of small scale cotton industries, and the economic planning which the country did, which we could not do it. In the bargain, what have we lost? We have lost so many people who work day in and day out to produce commodities for all of us on all occasions. And since we do not have technology which can bring down the cost of production, the price of those diyas, those statues, those idols, those colors, those lights are pretty high. Definitely, when it is high, it's a common tendency to purchase the cheaper products. But while doing so, if each one of us understand, let us go on to have a second Swadeshi movement, one which was launched when we were under British rule to break the backbone of British economy. And today is the time, particularly during COVID times, where each one is facing resource crunch, salaries have diminished, earning has diminished, people are facing economic hardships. They are trying to have two ends meet. Let us go ahead to purchase all the handicraft goods this Diwali and save precious foreign exchange reserves for our country. Now, while doing it, while saving it, we can also preserve our nature, our culture, our tradition. If I take you back to the aesthetic and mythological aspects of it, or cultural aspect of it, it's a time of celebration. The time of celebration of Lord Ram coming back with his wife Sita, with all the armies and people who helped him after defeating Ravan. So the celebration should be in such a way that it should have the aesthetics value and sense of it. And if we go back and try to revive those roots, perhaps many youngsters would understand, which perhaps in life's uh, hurdles of or life's speed, we have lost most of the connect of the past. We are obsessed with completing curriculum. We are obsessed with finishing off syllabus curriculum and planning for life and future. In the bargain, we have lost touch with our culture and heritage. Let this occasion, this pandemic of COVID-19, be opening up vistas and opportunities to learn from the past, to help people in the surroundings. And it's very easy. Buy products from them to lighten up your life, your Diwali, and brighten up the Diwali and celebration of those people who have really toiled hard, and they do it for the entire year and wait for this occasion so that they get someone to have the life. Now, when we speak about the hazardous impact of uh, control of pollution, hazardous impact of pollution, either by the gases which come out from firecrackers, the sound which comes out, and just now when we were seeing those visuals of how Patna looks like and how we are in a danger zone along with few other cities in Bihar, it really is a time to ensure that let's minimize the use of crackers there and find different other ways to celebrate Diwali. One can be what I explained, the homemade. When I say homemade, I'm talking about India as a whole. So local products. It might not look very fancy, but then it serves the purpose. And secondly, while doing so, we will be letting the money rotate from one household to other household. And the more money rotates, more money the economy would have. Our economy would be stronger. And that will be a perfect gift for mankind, humanity, and our country. Wish each one of you very happy, safe, and prosperous Diwali filled with local aesthetic sense. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir, for unfolding the various realms that lie hidden in the present topic of discussion. Now, I would like to invite Ayush to guide the way ahead.
Thank you, Ankita. So here I start to introduce our next speaker, Honorable Dr. Prabil Shah. Dr. Prabil Shah is currently working as an associate professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, IIT Patna. Before joining IIT Patna, he served the Department of Mechanical Engineering, IIEST Shipur, formerly known as PESU Shipur, in West Bengal. As a faculty for 4 years, Dr. Shah obtained his Doctor of Philosophy in year 2009 from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, IIT Kharagpur, Master of Technology in Manufacturing Engineering from IIT Delhi in year 2002, and Bachelor of Engineering in Production Engineering Department from Jadavpur University, West Bengal in year 2001. Dr. Shah also served as an Associate Dean Resource at IIT Patna from year 2017 to year 2019. He has already guided 2 PhD students who have been placed in IIT and a foreign university as a faculty and postdoctoral fellow. 6 more PhD students are presently working under supervision. He is currently doing active research in microfabrication, especially on microEDM, micro-FSW, and additive frictional stir processing. Dr. Saha has also been working on co-projects funded by several agencies, several peer-reviewed published international journal papers, book chapters, and conference proceedings are to his credit. He has also delivered several invited talks to various prestigious institutes all over India. Dr. Shah is also a reviewer of several high-impact journals. So now, I would like to request Dr. Shah to take up the microphone.
Uh, yeah, I hope I am audible.
You are audible.
Yeah, fine.
Yes.
So thank you, Ayush. Such wonderful words you talked about me. So first of all, I would like to thank Mrs. Chakravarti for inviting me for this very nice webinar. Very nicely presented. Also, she has also brought so many experts. I'm really wondering, like in the school, a very new school like Foundation Academy in IIT Patna, she was able to, able to get a person who is really, indeed expert in the pollution control. So very thank to Professor Chakravarti. Even I came to lot of things about Patna and also about Bihar related to pollution. Uh, so mostly, as Professor, as Mrs. Chakravarti has told me, asked me to present something about noise pollution. So just I want to share my screen. Okay. So I hope my screen is visible. Am I right? Yeah. So Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So, first of all, I would like to thank my research scholar, particularly Mr. Akash, Mr. Mayank, and Mr. Prabhakar, who has helped me to prepare these slides. So, and although I do not belong to this, to this field, particularly my research area doesn't include this, or I am not the expert of the pollution board, but I still try my best to gather some information, at least with respect to some scientific aspects of noise pollutions, which I feel personally that it will be helpful for the young students who are studying in the school. They should know about this noise pollution, particularly science aspect. And so all these things I have just gathered and just I have to share the information I have gathered. So this picture pictorially say, right, it's about noise pollution, the big sound which is coming to the ears, right? So my presentation will be on these three categories. First one, I will try to introduce noise pollution, then the sources of noise pollution, effects of noise pollution, and the control of noise pollution. Now, if you see the difference between a noise and a sound is that the way I'm talking is actually a sound. But if I start shouting at you, that will be becoming a noise. So a noise, something like which annoyed you, right? So that is noise. But scientifically, we have to define what is exactly noise. So the noise word is coming from the Latin word noxia. It means injury or harm. Generally, it injures to our eardrum, our ear cells, which may lead to impairment, hearing impairment, right? Which is not desirable. So noise is something like unwanted, unpleasant, and annoying sound caused by the vibration of the matter. Now, the source of noise, I will go into details of this, but for the time being, if you look at the outdoor, I mean, if you go outside from your house, mostly the sounds, the noise, not sound, the noise which are coming out mainly from the transportation system, motor vehicles, aircraft, trains, etc. There are others in the queue. Now, before proceeding into some of the important aspects of noise, let's see, particularly the 11 or maybe the 12 standard students might be knowing that sound is nothing but waves, you know that, and the waves could be longitudinal waves or it could be what is called transverse waves, right? So sound is actually a vibration of matters, vibration of the points of the matters, which either moving in the longitudinal direction or it could be in the transverse direction. The sound waves which are coming out from the source, which is sometimes we assume as an isotropic sound source, and there it comes at some energy of the mass which is vibrating to and fro, maybe in the longitudinal direction, in the wave direction, and the energy in terms of its kinetic and potential energy that is going out, and it is transmitted through some medium, and finally it is going to the reception. Now, what we should, what is important for us, so far as noise pollution is considered, is the longitudinal waves, where the matter is moving along the direction of the waves. Now, here I could show here something like, if you see that one, there are few terminologies associated with this. Here, this is amplitude versus time plots, where you can see that possibly it's following a sinusoidal waves, and where you have amplitude of vibration, and also it has some wavelength, it has some cycle. So all these terminology are used to define the level of sound. Sometimes we call it a very high-pitched sound, sometimes we call a very loud sound, right? So everything is actually based on this parameter. What is the frequency of the sound? What is amplitude of vibration of the sound? Based on that, we can categorize different category of sounds. Now, that's what it is important to be understood. So we have in noise pollution, or rather in sound, if you see the sound, so it must have a source, right? It must transmit through a medium, and then it is going to the receptor. So receptor is our external ear, right? So the source could be anything. So just you can think about your washing machine, the mixture in your home, like the window ACs, right? And if you go outside, you have noise from transportation system, the vehicles, even in the aircrafts, the big sound coming from the aircraft engines, the railways, even in offices, the noise. These are different sources of noise. Even in Patna, it's a very new experience. I've just come to Patna. I have seen a new thing, like in particularly in marriage ceremony, I could see that people are they use a DJ kind of thing, and it's a big dance I could see, and that is definitely it's a kind of noise. So if you go a little bit about the hearing system of a human being, if you see that whenever the sound's coming, it's going to the external ear, and then it's moving into the medium ear, and then finally the internal ear. So in internal ear, we have what is called eardrum. And eardrum is filled by some fluids, and then there is a coil. Here I could see that there are some nerves, some cells are there which are something like that, just like a grass. These are all living cells of the ears, which is very important, which sense the sounds and then passing it to the brain system. So our brain then diagnose, whether the sound is good or bad. Now, what happens, whenever a sound is going there, it's actually sensed by the eardrum. Now, if the sound level is very high, it's actually going to affect first the eardrum, and then secondly, it is going to affect on these ear cells. So ear cells are something like that. Say if you have a grass, on the ground, if you go, if you walk on the grass, say for one time, two time, three time, maybe it may again wake up. It may lie down and it may again wake up. But if you continue to do that, if you have a fatigue attempt, then this sometimes you may see that the grasses are not there, or even the grasses are completely dying. They become dead. And if these things happening, then there is a danger. Like you are going to lose your hearing ability permanently, right? Now, the efficiency of this eardrum and this the cell, the ear cell, these are actually very much depends upon what kind of intensity of the sound. So if I go back a little bit, like there are several parameters which define sound. Sometimes if you have a high pitch sound, the pitch is very high. We call high pitch sound when the frequency of the sound waves is very high, right? Sometimes we call it a very louder sound when the amplitude of the vibration is very high, or sometimes we call it as very intense, or rather the intensity of the sound is very high. So the intensity, that's I will discuss on that. So what is important so far as noise pollution is concerned is the intensity of the sound. It's not the pitch. It's not the pitch. Pitch is not important here. Yeah, you can feel the thrill of the noise, but pitch is not very important here. But what is important is the intensity, the energy at which the matters is moving per unit time, per unit area. So we'll come into that. So the intensity has to be controlled, and every sound noise is measured by the intensity of the sound, not the pitch. If you look back into the human eye, which can recognize sounds, which varies to a very wide range. It could be say 20 say 200 hertz to even 20 kilohertz. So 200 hertz to 20 kilohertz, that kind of frequency or cycle, or rather the frequency it can at this sense. So this range is called a sonic range. If you go beyond 20,000 hertz or 20,000 20 kilohertz, then it's become human imperceptible. So it's moving into ultrasonic. It cannot sense. But as I said, the range of the frequency is belonging to 200 to 20,000. But truly speaking, what is comfortable to the human ears is around, say 400 to suppose 4,000 or maybe around 4,000 or 5,000 hertz, right? This is mostly comfortable. Now, so that's what, there is few frequency I said, per unit time, how many such waves are coming. Intensity, that is very much important. So it is not the frequency, it is the intensity which creates noise. So this is the amount of sound energy received or released per second per unit area. And this unit is watt per meter square. So you can think about a point source, which is sometimes assume an isotropic. So this is the transmitting medium, and the transmitting medium you can think about a spherical transmitting medium. So in everywhere it is transmitting sound waves from the source, transmitting like everywhere at equal. I would say the energy which is released at equally, right? Now, so if you move it here, it could be proved analytically that the intensity of the sound will be represented by this equation, where I is the intensity of the sound and rho is the density of the medium through which sound is moving, v is the velocity at which sound is moving, omega is the angular frequency, and sm is the amplitude of vibration. So we actually consider a sphere, and to find out intensity, what we need is the energy, which is nothing but the kinetic energy and potential energy of the particle which is moving out from the source, coming out in unit time, divided by the area. And the area is the surface area of the sphere, which is nothing but 4 pi r square. So r is the distance from this source, right? So you can understand that if you go away from the source, so inversely square of the r, inversely the intensity is going down, right? So I mean, if some DJ is DJ is considered as the source, and if you're moving away from this DJ, you will feel some sort of relaxation, not the intense sound. So that is the meaning of this. Now, intensity, if you see the level of intensity, suppose for a human being, the comfortable intensity is around, I would say, 1 into 10 to the power minus 12. So 10 to the power minus 12 watt per meter square, that is the comfortable intensity. Right, but this is a very big number. Sometimes we convert this big number into a very smaller number by converting into decibel scale. So when you convert into decibel scale, we call equivalent decibel conversion of the intensity, and the sound level is generally measured by decibel. So the name, the Alexander decibel. Why decibel is because of the Alexander decibel, right? So Alexander Bell, not decibel, Alexander Bell. So because of that, the decibel term has come, and it is represented by this formula, which is 10 dB, log 10 base I by I10, where I is the measured intensity and I naught is the reference intensity. As I said, it is 1 into 10 to the power minus 12 watt per meter square, and level of noise is dB. So the intensity can be sometimes is converted into an equivalent decibel level, and that's what each and every noise meter or dosimeter is actually giving intensity of a sound or noise pollution in terms of dB. It's not about in terms of intensity. The intensity is converted into dB, and that's how we can convert. Now, before going into the measurement of noise, let's see something about some of the level which we should know, right? Say if you have a 20 decibel sound, intensity sound, like whisper, when we do whispering, it's around 20 dB. The office which I'm sitting at is completely quiet. It could be 40 dB, and in normal conversation it is 60 dB. And when it is 80 dB, is the level at which sound becomes physically painful and can be termed as a noise. So any sounds whose intensity, equivalent intensity in decibel, which crosses 80 or 85 decibel, we call it as now it is no more sound. It is actually becoming a noise. And if a person is exposed sound intensity in decibel, like 85 decibels, so more than 8 hours or 9 hours in a day. So thoroughly, I mean, after sometimes it might happen that he may lose its the hearing ability. Now this is an instrument which is generally used for measuring this intensity in decibel, right? Now, so noise decimeter is actually determining the sound level meter, which actually measure the noise exposure of a person integrate over a period of time. Now, this integration over a period of time, why it is important is that the noise level is varying from it is a function of time. The level in morning and the level in the evening, or maybe in the night, that level will change in the same place, same city. So that's why when we find out the noise exposure, we always integrate over a time. Now, through this dosimeter, what we can find it out is such as noise dose, such as time weighted average, such as sound exposure level, as well as peak, maximum, minimum sound pressure level. Now, noise dose means suppose I am in a Patna, and suppose I'm in from the morning to evening I'm in the Patna. Just I want to see that what is my noise dose. So how could I find out this noise dose? So it's very simple formula. What is there? What is my actual time I have spent? Maybe in the boring road, I spend maybe in the Machli market. Everyone, the Bengalis people might be knowing. We frequently go there in the on Sunday. So suppose we spend some time in 1 hour there, and I know that what is the decibel level at that time. So for that decibel level, you are permitted to take T1 say T1 hours. We actually here say C1 hours, but actually for that decibel, maybe in the morning the decibel level is around 85 or 90. So maybe you may be permitted to stay there say for not more than 2 hours, something like that. Even at other time, maybe you go there and spend some time, and at that decibel level what is your permitted exposure time. So if you do that, say for 8 hours or 9 hours, finally if you add it, you'll get the noise dose, right? Similarly, as I said, you can have a time weighted average. As I said, that you have to integrate over a time. So you do it for 8 hours. 8 hours you monitor and you integrate it. If I say L19, and this is a 75 dBA, that means 90%, I mean, if I record it for 8 hours, so 90% of that 8 hours, the sound intensity was 75 dBA. So these are the things which you can find it out from this noise dosimeter. And every pollution control board, they have this instrument and they can easily monitor this. Now, just to give you one glimpse on the sound intensity, as I said, one formula I have given, but sound intensity can also be found out by this formula, where if you know the pressure change, because if you increase the amplitude of vibration, actually the pressure on the ear you are increasing. So by this pressure, you can also find out this intensity, where del P is the pressure change of the amplitude, rho is the density of the material sound, and VW is the speed of the observed sound. So if I do that, finally I can also easily find out I. Just for your reference, I just want to convert the dB into intensity. If you have a 0 decibel, that means the threshold is 1 into 10 to the power minus 12. So 1 into 10 to the power minus 12 watt per meter square is absolutely fine. It's absolutely it's absolutely fine for a human being, and we call it a 0 decibel, right? Now, if you move away, say go into this loud siren, the siren which is connected maybe to the ambulance, or maybe some cars of the politician, great politician. Sometimes you can see even to the normal person they have a siren and they have a typical sound, and the sound is around 100 dB, right? And it is intensity wise it is 1 into 10 to the power minus 12. So 100 dB is definitely painful. It's noise. It's normal sound. And if it crosses 160 dB, which is nothing but 1 into 10 to the power 4, 10 to the power 4 watt per meter square, you see you're going to burst your eardrums. Simply going to burst your eardrums, right? Which is so vulnerable. I hope that the students who are very young like my son is also uh, um, uh, watching this presentation, so he must be aware of this, that the decibel levels more than 160 dB, it's simply going to bust your eardrum. So you should never try to use, or rather try to enjoy the Diwali with the crackers, right? Now, now there's two things. I mean, it could be for 11 or 12 standard students. If you see, sometimes in the noise meter, we do some weighting, some A weighting, B weighting, C weighting, sometimes Z weighting. Now, why this weighting is important? The weighting is important because for human being, what is important? Important is 500 to 4,000 watt. Now, noise meter can capture lot of types of sound, lot of frequency of sounds. But for us, it's not important to think about or to be worried about all the frequency of sound. What we are interested about 500 to 4,000 hertz. So if I use a weighting filter, if I using a weighting filter, that means the sounds which is having a frequency from 500 to 4,000 will be only captured, and other will be filtered out. And based on that, it will try to find out the decibel. So A weighting is mostly for human being. Now sometimes we also do for a C weighting. C weighting is when we check loudness of tones relative to 90 decibel. So it's a very high. I mean, it's a very I would say 1,000 hertz reference tone. That is the reference one, slightly in middle one. So similar to that, we can also do B weighting and Z weighting. Z weighting, I think the music peoples might be knowing. Sometimes they tune their music instrument using a Z weighting, right? Providing that provides a flat response. So it's just like a filter which filter out specific frequency sounds and just capture the required one and find out the decibel level. Just again, to understand how to calculate the intensity to decibel, I'm just trying to solve one numerical. You can see that a sound wave traveling at 0 degrees centigrade having a pressure amplitude of 0.656 MPa. Now, so to find out this, first I have to find out what is my intensity. To find out intensity, you see that the pressure is around 0.6 Pascal. So I can put 0.65 pascals here, square, and then 2 into rho. Rho is the density of the air, because it's through air it is coming, and V is the sound. I mean, the sound travels at the where 0 degree centigrade at 331 meters per second. So that way it becomes 5.04 into 10 to the power 5 minus 4 watt per meter square. And from there, this is equivalent to 87 decibel. So it is also not desirable. 87 decibel is also it is pretty high, right, for the human being. So like that, you can also try, like you can easily calculate, if you know the intensity, you can calculate the decibel. If you know the decibel, you can easily calculate the intensity level. Now, if we move into types of noise, we have two kinds. One is in a community noise, or say the environmental noise, like non-industrial. We have aircraft, which is very huge. The road noise pollution, underwater noise pollution. Underwater noise pollution is because of the marine, like you have big ships, right? All this because of that. And then the second was occupational noise. Occupational noise is typically industrial noise. I could share it because as a mechanical engineer, I know one process which is called electromagnetic forming. Now, whenever you see electromagnetic forming industry in a locality, generally a guideline is given that you should not, no locality should be established within a 2-kilometer area surrounding, the 2-kilometer surrounding area from this industry. No one should be there when there will be this electromagnetic forming. So this is in industry, there are big noises are there, and people are working hard to I would say redesign their instruments so that they can filter it out the big noise. Otherwise, they cannot qualify, I would say, the environmental act, because in India, in worldwide it was 1972, but in India it is 1986, where noise pollution is included in the environmental act. So every company has to follow this act, otherwise the license will be cancelled. Now, this is also a different noise level. Just give you one idea that if you see a 30, 40, 70s, and then here, whenever it comes here, this becomes a danger, right? So sounds above 85 decibels is harmful, so you should avoid. hearing a sound above 85 decibels. Now, if you see the effects are huge. I mean, really, you will be astonished. It's a huge effect. Some are the psychological effect, some are physiological effect. Uh, First point, which is important, is the hearing loss. So loud noise damage fine hair cell in the ear, and you will be, hearing impairment might happen. And annoyance, that is a big trouble, which may also create a high rate of depressive symptoms, high stress, which is there in today's children. Then the psychological effects, particularly the chronic cardiovascular, the blood pressure may go high. You may have a respiratory problem. You may have a problem in the lungs, right? You may have also problem of migraine, headaches. So all these are the effect of sound or rather the noise pollution. Then it is obvious, like even in school, you see if your friends are disturbing you, they're creating noise. Possibly you cannot solve a numerical, which you need a good attention, right? And therefore you need a very quiet and calm place, like you do not have a noise pollution. So human performance is very much depends on the level of sounds. The nervous system, that is also important. That's also going to be affected by the noise pollution. Sleepiness, you may lose the sleepiness in the night. You see that the sleep is not coming, and you will be in trouble. Effects on plants, right? So that is, it's not only human being. It's also on the plants. Their production capacity, growth, everything is going to affect it severely. And also damage to the material. You might be thinking living being is fine, but what about non-living things? So materials, like when a material is exposed to a high ultrasonic waves or infrasonic waves, like you have ultrasonic machines, we have ultrasonic horns, where the ultrasonic waves are continuously going on, where you have ultrasonic machining going on for 3 hours, 4 hours. So it was found that if your material have ultrasonic vibration and the sound waves are going for a long time, this may also affect some internal problem, like causes of some small cracks, might be very small cracks, which may propagate in different direction and causes a catastrophic failure if it is subjected to some structural applications. Now, if I talk about something on the control of noise pollutions, I must see three parts. One is at the source, one is at the transmitting medium, and the third one is the receiver. So I must take care of these three. I mean, I can do some modification either at the source or at the transmitting media or at the receptor. So, and by combined effects, possibly you can reduce the noise pollution. So first one, if I say at the source, what I can do is that this is a businessman. This is a business trick. Like in every equipment, particularly the music systems, right? You must mention there what is the noise level that it may generate. So you have to very clearly specify the noise level in the specification of every music system as per the standard. As per the what is called the Environmental Act, you must mention the decibel level. And it is a choice of the customers who will see, and it depends on them, like whether they should go for very high decibel music system or low decibel music system. But at least you must mention it in the specification. Then there are some processes, there are some machines which creates a lot of problems. In a house, you might have observed the mixture, the grinder, the washing machine, particularly the window ACs. They're creating a lot of problems. Like either you substitute it. Substitution is not always possible because in the hot time, like you cannot substitute AC by some other things. So possibly what you can do, you can think about efficient system design. So that is the design part. Like the engineers might be thinking on how can I redesign, how can I design my product based on the sound pollution. So sound based, I would say the designing, like you might be hearing about aesthetic based, ergonomics based design, aesthetic based design. Similarly, you have to think for sound based design. You should make a system which you have to make an efficient system where you have a very limited radiation of noises, pressure, frictional resistance, everything you have to take care. Then if I move into the control in the transmission part, even even if you have tried a lot to think about designing at the source part, but again you can think about there are some situations where possibly at the source level you cannot do anything. Nothing is in your hand. You cannot do anything. Say for example, traffic in Patna. Just go in the evening time. You'll realize, the things is really pathetic. It will annoy you, right? So you cannot have nothing. You cannot do anything. Similarly, if you move into large road construction, their sounds, big sounds are coming. So it's not in your hand. Like they are making for us, and they possibly have not done anything in the source level. So what we can do, we can possibly absorb the sound along the path. Absorbing the sound along the path is a very good solution, and I hope that you might have observed, like in the highway, you possibly seen so many bushes are planted on either side of the roads, and these bushes are actually act as acoustic. So it's just acting as acoustic. It absorbs the sounds which are coming from the vehicles. That is a very good example by which you can do that. Second one is that you can deflect the sound in some other direction by placing a reflecting barrier in its path. Now, when you talk about reflecting barrier, it's made of different materials, acoustic material, and this has a different engineering of different materials, which has a different field, and the metallurgists are working very hard to make acoustic material which can absorb all the sounds and acts as a sound barrier. Then the third one is that the working source, you can make it in the insulating box, right? So that you can have a minimum sound which will be transmitted. Now, if you move into the receiver, like us, we are receiving the sounds. Now, one way is that frequently we do that. It's very easy, right? It's very easy. You can do that. You need not to wait for the government what actions it is taking, but you can do it. It is with you. That you can use the earplugs. Right? It's the best solution, right? You just put your earplugs, and I hope that you can save this noise pollution problem to a great extent, right? Then individual enclosures or noise shelters for workers in noise working environments. I mean, you might have observed also, like in cinema hall, possibly you might have seen in Patna there are big cinema halls like PM Mall. There's one cinema hall which is soundproofed. I would say the cinema hall. In the cinema hall itself, inside it, there's a big sound, digital sound. But when you go outside, you don't feel that some big sounds are going there. That's why the whole building is actually made by this sort of materials which can absorb the sounds, right? So these are all in the engineering aspects, and this is a very new field which is opened up, which is also emerging, and the people are working hard to do that. And a lot of materials have been synthesized and commercialized, right? This is very important statistical data, but unfortunately, you see that the combined hearing loss index, if you see the rank-wise, Switzerland is the first. I mean, they have a very minimum noise pollution, followed by Austria, Norway, Germany, Sweden. But if you see the negative way, the reverse, highest combined hearing loss, then after Turkey you have India, and then finally Egypt, then I think India, that is India, two places, Mumbai and then Delhi, and then in China we have this place also where the sound level is very high and they have a very high hearing loss index, right? So this is what I must stop right now, keep calm and stop noise pollution. Okay, that is what from my end.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your words. Now we have approached to the end of this webinar. So I would like to now request Das Gupta, sir, for delivering the vote of thanks.
So all good things come to an end, and here we are at the end of the day with a closing touch on vote of thanks. So I'll start thanking the headmistress of the host school Foundation Academy for lighting the lamp, and the teachers choir who gave a wonderful presentation of the welcome stotra, Ms. Neha Gupta, Ms. Ranju Jha, and Ms. Beauty Kumari. I will come to the young blood who gave their best today, being the masters of the occasion, Ankita Sarangi, Ayush Kumar, Raj Nandini, and Srimant Tripathi, with wonderful narration and introduction to the chief speakers. A special vote of thanks to the Hindi poem recitation by Raj Nandini, which was composed, textualized by Vikita Kumar and edited by Sri Manish Kumar Pathak, head of the Hindi department of the host school. And last but not the least, Cliche, our panelists who made a great day for the viewers, those who were fortunate enough to hear the deliverance of Ms. Rama Chakravarti, principal of the Foundation Academy, the host school. Our chief guest of the day, Dr. Ashok Kumar Ghosh, who in spite of all his busy schedule, he could manage the Erasmus Mundus Fellow, and who is also the chairman of Bihar State Pollution Control Board. Thank you very much, Dr. Ghosh, for giving us a wonderful eye-opening speech. I would also thank Sri Sharat Kumar Singh, Principal, Litera Valley School, for giving a unique point of view as an economist and as a social scientist. Finally, I would humbly offer our thanks to Dr. Prabir Saha, Associate Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, IIT Patna, for a heavily figured and very keenly researched presentation. So, thank you very much, Dr. Saha. My Thanksgiving would be incomplete if I don't mention, especially Sri Vikita Kumar for digital posting of our promotional poster. I would add a special note of thanks to the technical support given by Ms. Paulami Sarkar Ghojal, Sri Manwar Akhtar, and Sri Murari Parashar. And to draw the bottom line, the entire program would not have been possible had there been no motivation from the management of the host school Foundation Academy, especially our honorable chairman as well as the principal. With this, may I now request our school choir, teachers choir, to present the anthem, national anthem, and I request all viewers to rise on the occasion. Over to teachers choir for national anthem.
Jai. Jai.
Thank you very much, choir, and wish you all a very happy Diwali. Thank you all.